So I'm rushing this video a little bit because I'm going to go vote in the European elections. Unfortunately, I don't even have like the troll vote. I wanted to vote for the guy that has like a Jesus cross tattooed on his cock. There aren't any guys like that, not in these elections. So I don't know. I'll probably look at some independents or something. But I will talk about this thing which I spoke yesterday on my live stream. And it still boggles the mind that it's a thing. Like, I genuinely can't believe it, right? So, for those of you who don't know, the OK sign is now considered racist. And they say that it's like trolls on 4chan that started it. No, I think it's the mainstream media. I think the trolls on 4chan might have been a maximum of 100 people. But now the mainstream media has written so many articles about the OK sign being racist that Marie Le Pen actually took a picture. Like, this actually has happened. All right, like try to put this into your brain and understand that this is a real thing. Marie Le Pen from France took a picture where she did the OK sign, and then people told her it's like, oh, it has racist connotations, so she asked for the selfie to be removed. This is in the news. This is happening. 2019. It's a thing. And now we notice that a high school has spent $53,000. Alright, like my Romanian brain cannot comprehend this amount of money. Like, I have never made this money in my entire life. I think like on my entire YouTube career, I've made half. Maybe like if I'm lucky and I add it up, I might have made half of 53,000, and that's like what, in the span of 4 to 5 years. It is insane. Right? Like 53,000. Like you can probably feed a homeless shelter for a couple of months. You can use that money in order to give it to some child suffering from leukemia for treatment. That, you know, again, like, I'm judging this from an Eastern European perspective, right? Like, maybe 53,000 isn't that much for Americans, and I'm just overblowing and exaggerating. But for me, it's such a huge amount of cash, you know? And yeah, it's a private company. Well, it's a private school, I guess. I think. I don't know. But and it can do with the money whatever it wants. You know, that's fine. I get that. But there is like a thing in Eastern Europe about being wasteful, about throwing money away, about throwing shit away. You know, and this is done for social justice, I guess. Like, social justice is the ideology that should help the underprivileged, that allegedly would help the people that don't have power. And look how this ideology causes so much money to be wasted, you know? It's difficult. So a high school in Chicago suburb is spending more than 53,000. Sorry, so the 53,000 was just it's just like the beginning, but it might be spending more in order to reprint its 2018-2019 yearbook after staff discovered. I love that they discovered. It's like the Indiana Jones, you know. He went and he discovered something. Discovered photos in which students were flashing the white supremacist OK sign. I love it. It's like, it's not even, when they're doing the reporting, Huffington Post, it's not the OK sign which might be interpreted as. No, it's now the white supremacist OK hand sign. It's like, it's legit. You know, it's official. If something is not true, if it's written in the papers, it becomes true. Administrators at Oak Parks and River Forest High School. God, I hope it's a private high school. I really do. I'm in a rush. I need to go to vote, so I don't have the time to check. But I hope it's a private high school. Released a statement last week notifying parents that they were withholding the yearbooks from distribution after they discovered the photos. It's kind of fun. It's like no one discovered it up till now. I wonder why. I think it's because 1 year ago people weren't insane. I mean, they were insane, but not to this level. This week, Chicago Tribune reported that the high school will pay Judstons $53,000 to reprint the books, and that the new versions are expected to be delivered to students. Oh, hold on a little bit. Why are Judstons asking so much money to reprint some? How expensive is the process? Huh? Like, there's some fuckery going around on here. You know, some money being laundered. If I was using my Eastern European brain, that's what I would think. It's just weird. 53,000, Jesus. The racist adaptation of the OK sign began on 4chan, an anonymous message board frequented by racist trolls, extremists, and apparently journalists. Also, journalists frequent. How would they know if they don't frequent it? Huh? I don't frequent. I go to Infinity Chan. I'm infinitely better. But still, I keep seeing, the press constantly say, oh, 4chan is frequented by the worst people. Yeah, and journalists. Journalists go there. How else do they? Or maybe they have a source. Huh? Maybe it's like the policeman that talks with the gang, the gang drug pusher. And he's the man on the inside. So the journalists have like a racist on the inside that is telling them what the racists think. Since then has been co-opted by prominent white supremacists. Well, hold on a little bit. Like, this sentence doesn't make sense. So on 4chan you have racists, trolls, and extremists. Which one are the journalists? Well, which one are they? The journalists are the racists, the trolls are the extremists. Or maybe all of them. Because we know journalists go there. And so you now have co-opted by prominent white supremacists. So the white supremacists co-opted the racists and the extremists? So you're saying the white supremacists weren't racist and extremists before? Trying to make sense of journalist syntax is often use it to signal their presence to like-minded extremists. Who is like-minded with the white supremacist? What other ideologies are? What? It is prominent enough that those who use it have been fired from their jobs or faced other consequences. Yeah, imagine that. Imagine, using a website and getting fired from it. Like, Mommy, why is there no food on the table? Because Daddy got fired. Why? He used 4chan. Recently, a Chicago Cubs fan was banned indefinitely from Wrigley Field after flashing the hand sign behind a black reporter during a live broadcast. Yeah, I mean, I definitely see this justice. Like the crime fits the punishment. The suffering that that black reporter had to face and had to endure as the OK sign was flashed behind him definitely is worth ruining this guy's career. That definitely is worth ruining and making sure that not only him but his family suffer. It's really proportionate, isn't it? I really love social justice. It's really fair. The concept of fairness is maintained. Why didn't they flash a black power symbol behind him? That would have been that would be cruel and unusual punishment, wouldn't it? The guy makes the OK sign in front, behind the black reporter, and then a black reporter does the power fist behind the white guy. That would have been cruel and unusual, right? So they had to go with the least nuclear option and just get them fired. While the students' intent was unclear and the photos weren't made available, the content was apparently jarring enough that the staff felt it necessary to reprint the yearbooks. So I love it. We're going to spend $53,000 just to be sure. I mean, they might be white supremacists, they might not be, but let's err on the side of caution and throw away $53,000 in the wind, just to make sure that, let's imagine this, okay? Let's say that they were white supremacists. All of them have hoods when they go home, and they're not trying to be spooky ghosts. And they flash the OK hand sign as a white supremacy thing. How is changing the yearbook like changing anything? Like, they're still going to be racist. Like, you're not fixing any of the problems. Like, you're just throwing away $53,000 that could have been done for something better. An email to parents from the school district notes that while the hand gesture could have been a reference to the classic schoolyard made you look circle game, it's used by hateful people and ideologies. So in other words, by the way, did you know that your kid might be a white supremacist? Did you know that your kid might be burning crosses in his free time? Well, actually, people don't burn crosses anymore. They seem to make the OK sign behind black people, which is just as worse. We've been made aware that this year's Tabula yearbook, which has not been distributed, contains several photos of studies making a hand gesture that has different meanings. In some cases, in what we know is the circle game. However, the gesture has more recently become associated with white nationalism. I love how they just dictate it. Like, they just claim it. And if they claim it, it must be true. Who associated it? Who did this? Like, in the beginning of the article, you say there's trolls on 4chan. Like, what are trolls? Do we still know the definition? I guess troll means right-winger nowadays. No. Trolls used to be a person that is not invested emotionally into a conversation. They legitimately do not care. But they say something just to piss you off. So they will post something that they don't believe and then just watch how people get angry over what they posted. Okay? So trolls don't believe that the OK sign is racist. So they post it knowing that it will piss people off. And your response is to take that and associate that it's 100% true. Brilliant. So let's see. We have a person getting fired because of it. We have $53,000 down the drain. We have Marine Le Pen, a French politician, asking for pictures of her to be erased, like, you know, the ones that in the USSR, you know, Stalin would look like the picture, didn't like it, all of a sudden the person would disappear from them. We have Blizzard deciding that if anyone does the OK sign within their compound, gets sacked, gets pushed away. I believe it was like a competition or something, and someone did the OK sign. He was told if he does it again, he will be thrown out. We have Mortal Kombat devs that decided the OK sign needs to be removed from their game. Really interesting. This hysteria, you know, it reminds me of the Satanic Panic. Maybe in the future it's going to be called the OK sign panic.